is always will remain constant. The amount of current that you're going to get out of it is probably going to be different.
That's why you install batteries to hold whatever current.
No, you put the battery, see, but don't forget, what we're doing is the module will only convert radiation into DC. From there on, you do. So what happens is actually from your system, if you don't have enough solar radiation, you're not going to get a certain amount of what? Of power out of it. So if you have, for example, a 3 kW system in a cloudy day, we'll not give you 3 kW. This is why it's so extremely important when you do the analysis and you calculate the system size that you put at a customer's place. You don't say to them, yeah, I'm going to put 3 kW system, and therefore, at any point in time, I'm going to go up there and put a meter up there, and it's going to give you 3 kWs. That is the maximum and the ideal conditions. So whenever you do that kind of, you tell them the truth. Remember, there's a lot of us, you know, in paper, a lot of the stuff works very well under the standard conditions. See, you have to understand, in the ways that you can do and you solve problems in life, there's two ways you can do them, especially problems that they need some sort of a proof. One way you solve problems is what? By you doing them and showing them. The other way you do it by doing it empirically with a pencil and paper, because pencils and papers and the tools associated with mathematics is tools that you can show somebody that something physical will work. And then you go and you do it.
Now I heard that they are working on modules that will accept the other spectrums of light.
Let me tell you something. There's tremendous amounts of projects associated with different amount of technologies through universities, through many countries. Actually, put scientists. A lot of the stuff actually is done in Germany. That actually working with different materials into improving the processes for solar panels. Many things, and you know, they all have dates that the actual reports will come out to show you. There's a lot of things that they can work well in a laboratory, and then it needs to be working to come out in the field, be approved. Because one is the development of an actual, the module itself. When you look at physically, even the module itself, it's not only the science associated in capturing the light, but it's also the electromechanical parts that goes into the module. You know, the glass, all the layers, the mechanical strength, all of those things have to be, and it has to be something that's called cost effective for everybody. So we as the end users who try to sell that or go back to Warshauer buy a module, for example, and says, you know, $600 for a module and so forth, and you go to somebody else, says $500 for a module, and you go whatever it is you have to evaluate all those things to before you purchase. Yes, sir.
The modules that are used in space by NASA,
yeah,
you know, satellites and stuff, since they put millions of dollars into these modules, do you think they're, you know, something that is way beyond what is cost effective for us to use, or they're the same things? They're just state of the art. They're the same thing.
Well, don't forget, all those things they are custom made in a sense, but they also the efficiency is much higher. When you send a lunar module, of course, it's much higher up there. But you can't afford that to put in your house. Yeah. You can't afford. The efficiency is much higher. The processes are much higher. You know, when you make a custom-made part, from the reliability calculation is much higher. You know, because you can't afford to send something in space. Yeah. Don't forget a lot of the solar the Bell Labs they came out with and they started installing them in 1954 in the areas that it was more cost effective. If you needed a telephone someplace in the boondocks, that, you know, in the top of a mountain or something, that you had no ways that the infrastructure to provide you with energy, so you develop a system up there to do that, because it becomes more cost effective. Right now, why we don't sell enough It's not the problem. It's not that we can't install them. Gee, we're taking a course and we install them up there. You know, roofers install them right now, right? Electricians install them. Plumbers install them. You know, home improvement contractors install them, and they don't need any kind of certification to do that, to put them up there, to mount them. And however, for the average person, it has to be cost effective for them. Payback, right? Payback. And the industry now says, how can I make a module cheap enough so the consumer will buy it? Because right now, you know that the cost for what? For kilowatt hour at the utility company, that you don't have to do anything about it, is what? 10 cents? Right? 10 cents? So therefore, you say, why do I need all this headache at $70,000 expense when all I have to do is call up, you know, public service or JCP&L or whatever. But the industry now came out with the recommendations, clean energy, rebates, so it becomes more and more from the practical point of view, as well as the emotional point of view, saving the environment, as well as from the financial point of view. And as more and more of these things installed, then the price will come down. Very soon. Yes, go ahead.
If utility companies are going to do away with their coal burning generating plants and build these big solar generating plants, do you think the cost to the consumer would be less or more?
The discussion was that if the utility companies will be able to install those concentrating solar systems and generate a tremendous amount of electrical energy, whether that it's going to help lower the price to the consumer. Right now, you don't know, but right now they have the responsibility to buy the energy you generate. Back in 1975 when they enacted that kind of act up there. So therefore, the industry now can act like a electrical generator. Anybody now, provided you meet a certain amount of codes, rules, and regulations, you can be a generating station, but they have to buy power back to you. The minute you be able to do it in a cheap way, you can sort of tell them, come and disconnect me, or get a service call, or as an electrician, the owner doesn't need that meter anymore. So now you would go up there and you would do that disconnect up there. The reason that the utility companies are investing in those concentrating solar things is the fact is that you don't want more, generating stations next door to you, and nobody else does. So as a result, if I can't build new generating stations, and I use my generating stations to the maximum capacity, and the generating stations that have plants are coming out of age, and you're not allowing me to do what? To shut them down because you need the energy, and the energy consumption continuously increases, then what do? I mean, we just discussed the other day that every one of us has a cell charger that we leave it in the wall. You have all kinds of clocks, all kinds of boxes, all kinds of things. That adapters to here for your TV to play with your computer and all this stuff. All those things they are phantom loads that somebody's got to provide you with those loads, with this power. They waste it. But you're still complaining about the power, the cost of energy. Because a lot of the stuff, a lot of the discussions that they've done, whenever you go and you try to sell a solar system to somebody, some of the areas that you have to also to pursue is to do what? At the same time, sell them what? Energy efficiency products. Because the New Jersey Clean Act does not only go into solar, but it's also other types of renewable energy sources. So if you do the same thing with lighting, one of the biggest studies that they're doing is actually one of is improving lighting for commercial